Hi, Misty here, and I'm going to talk about my final project, which is based on a course that I would love to teach someday, that I would love to develop. It's an 18-week long, semester-long American Literature elective course. The entire course would be based on a theme of empathy. The students in this course would be advanced 11th to 12th grade students, maybe 15 to 20 in the class, large enough for a good discussion but small enough for a good discussion, and small group projects. The students in this course would need to be intellectually competent for the challenging reading, and they would also need to be mature enough to discuss respectfully the content within this course. So, like I said, the entire course would be based on a theme of empathy, which I think is something that students really need to learn, and which research shows it can be learned effectively through literature, which may seem intuitive, but hey, it's nice to find the resources that support that theory. And I consider different things, a course based on the theme of stereotypes or politics or philosophy or transcendentalism, nature, but I didn't. I went based on empathy because this is my dream course, and that is something that I'm passionate about, something that I would like to see more of in students. So, it also meets Common Core standards, which we here in Illinois call the New Illinois Learning Standards because of the negative connotations surrounding the term Common Core. And also it is developed around the Charlotte Danielson teacher evaluation framework, because that is the evaluation tool used here for all instructors in Illinois. So I broke this into 4 different units, this course, that are also sub-themes of empathy. The first one is contact zones or cultural zones. The second one is displacement. The third one is borderlands. And the final one is haves versus have-nots. And within each of these sub-themes or units, I've also tried to order them chronologically and organize them by race or ethnicity, although there were exceptions to both of those within each sub-themed group. So within the first unit, which is the one that I highlighted primarily in this final outline or in this final project, I was showing how I would teach a unit on contact zones or cultural zones primarily through Native American literature, although an exception, for instance, would be Mary Rowlandson's narrative, which fits into the theme nicely for empathy, but which is not written by a Native American, so you can see an exception already. And the reason I organized them the way I did was particularly based on Paul Jay's essay that we read in class, his critical essay, and the discussion that's centered around that in our threaded discussions. I thought it was important to recognize regions and also themes, more so than just chronology. So, and the intent is for all of these pieces of literature to intersect and to transcend, and so that our discussions will grow in depth across all the sub-themes regarding empathy throughout the entire semester. I admit that it may not be the most effective method to organize the course, but I think I'm happy with it for now. I'd like to pilot it as is. I also regret that I did not include any LGBT literature in this course, but it wasn't for lack of trying. The time got away from me. I could not find the literature that I wanted to include, but I am sure that that I would include it if I were to teach this course. So within the course, I also, and within each unit, I tried to choose from a variety of genres. I've got non-narrative or nonfiction narratives. I've got speeches, letters, critical essays, novels, poetry, plays, videos, images. So I have a wide variety of both print and non-print literature, and I tried to also create a pretty equal distribution between men and women writers throughout the semester, and of course from different ethnicities. So we would start with the first week, getting all the housekeeping stuff out of the way with going over the syllabus, talking about the importance of empathy, learning empathy in school and in life, assigning small group roles and expectations and letting them have some time to discuss their small group roles. And then I would spend the next 4 weeks working on Unit 1. And Unit 1 is contact zones and cultural zones, especially through Native American literature and the one white woman's captivity as well, her narrative. We would begin with a pre-reading discussion or a self-reflective blog that asks the students to consider a time that they've faced a conflict or a disagreement. How big was it? How small was it? Serious? Minor? How many people did it involve? How did it involve them? Was it resolved? How was it resolved? Who was affected? How were they affected? And by them really reflecting on these questions, the students then will hopefully better understand contact zones as a place of conflict. Contact zones is probably a word that they're unfamiliar with right now, but by writing what they know, they will be able to more easily apply the idea of contact zones to their development of empathy throughout the semester. In addition, we're going to be engaging in multiple classroom discussions. Some of them will be online, at least one online discussion, threaded discussion for each literary selection, and at least one face-to-face discussion as well. These will be graded differently based on different rubrics. I love online and threaded discussions. If you're interested in knowing why, that could be one of the questions that you ask me, because it's a passion of mine. Maybe several of you also incorporate a lot of the online discussions in your classes too already. And then we'll follow this up with a small group teaching project. Each of the students will be in a group where everybody in the group, they have responsibilities such as reading all the required selections, leading and facilitating, creating, evaluating discussion boards or discussions. They will be finding a critical essay, video, image, the print and non-print literature to include with the unit that they're already assigned to, that already has several pieces that they're required to read. And then they have to create and evaluate a cumulative project for their assigned section based on the objectives that I give to them. So, although I like the course plan, I know it's imperfect, and I look forward to any suggestions or questions that you have for me.